Yeah, fair enough. Well, look, I think that video was a bit of an outlier, and as it's getting pointed out to me in Twitch chat, it very much so relies on obviously the people that you're raiding with as well. I do appreciate that for sure. But look, maybe I'll keep the Shadow Priest stream alive. We'll see how we go. I might change my mind and go with Holy. We'll see what happens. But fuck you, I'll turn back to you and just sort of say, let's tie off on Shadow Priest here and just sort of say, I think we would be remiss not to also discuss Holy Weavers at this point. We'll get to it back when we talk about the Holy spec later on, but we often talk about Shadow Priest being brought along just for that Shadow Weaving buff. Congratulations, Warlocks. Here I am. I'm a Shadow Priest. I'm here to give you a leg up. Do you still advocate for most guilds to bring that one Shadow Priest, or do you think that maybe it's better to do the Holy Weaver?
It depends on the guild and who they've got. If you have somebody that you want to bring along who's a Shadow Priest and you want to construct your raid around that person, it's taking up a group. And you're going to have 4 Warlocks with you, and there's all kinds of pros and cons along with that. And you're primarily healing, and then you're throwing some stuff up to make sure that the boss has that Shadow Weaving debuff on them. But the tough part about that is it's just a straight increase, and it's only for those 4 people, so they have to manage what they're doing relatively well. It's a lot of work just to get 4 out of 40 to be increasing their DPS, rather than some of these things that fundamentally hinder the boss or control the boss or make the fight overall easier for people. And again, it's hard when the priest has so many healing tools to say, look, we don't have enough good healers doing this thing. Can you do it, please? Because our warlocks are doing just fine without that one debuff to add on to the damage. So it's definitely doable. I think, I forget who has brought it up, but it's been said several times. There's the optimal versus the viable. Is a Shadow Priest or multiple Shadow Priests in a raid viable? Yeah. Is it optimal? The math doesn't really bear that out, but you can get down to Shadow Weaving in the tree and use some holy specs to increase your heals. You're just going to lose a lot of spots that are going to be largely useless. Spirit Tap is not going to make much of a difference. You're not going to be needing that extra Shadow Word pain damage. Your role is not to do damage, it's to heal. So you're spending like 15 points in talents just to get down to something that makes somebody else's job easier. So that's kind of why I think a lot of guilds have turned away from it.
Okay, very well put. Thanks for that. Now, look, Roger, here's what we'll do. I've been a bit unfair to you because I've started out talking about a spec that you haven't had as much experience with. All your work, I'm presuming, is obviously veering more towards the holy side of things. So let's get to talking about that and get you a bit more in your wheelhouse. Talk to me about an answer to this question, which is going to be very generic, but I'm sure there's a lot to it. And this is an argument that I've gotten involved with in the past, and I'm sure many people have. Are priests, or holy priests, I should say, the best healer in vanilla WoW, bar none?
Oh boy, that's a tough question.
Sorry.
You really threw the dynamite on me. All right. I would say in terms of raw healing power, Holy Priest's primary advantage is its versatility. You have Renew that you can use while you need to move during mechanics, whereas something like Holy Paladin, for example, can be really good when they just need to stand still, but you make a move around and all they have is Holy Shock every 30 seconds. And maybe they can throw something out, refresh a blessing, maybe, but since we have the long duration blessings in Classic, that won't even be the case.
Sorry.
So I see that as Priest's main advantage. Holy Paladins have an advantage in early content raiding, in that when you are still trying to get people together for Molten Core, if you don't have enough Holy Paladins to provide basic buff coverage, it's a big deal. It's a way bigger deal than having the additional healing from a priest. Also, Holy Paladins perform very well at lower gear levels because their mana lasts forever. Flash of Light is so mana efficient, it's ridiculous. And they also get really good baseline bonuses in the form of Blessing of Light and the additional healing it provides, which does not depend at all on the rank. And as I said before, Holy Priest's main advantage is their versatility. They can heal everyone in the party with Prayer of Healing. They can heal on the go with Renew. They can Power Word Shield to buffer the tank against damage. They just really get it all, and they're just overall the most flexible healer.
You'd be a great person to ask. How would you summarize, and you've raised this early just then with Paladins, but how would you summarize the Priest's level of mana efficiency?
Priest's mana efficiency is actually pretty good. Paladins are just on another plane of existence in terms of how good their mana efficiency is, but Priest mana efficiency is actually better than the other two classes. It's slightly better than Druids. They scale better with Spirit. They get more mana regeneration out of it. I think it's like this formula is Spirit divided by 4 for Priest, and it's Spirit divided by 5 for Druid. So it adds up. Okay.
Next thing I wanted to ask, and sorry, I'll get to you in a second, FARQ. I just want to round this one out with Roger. What would you say about the gameplay of the Holy Priest to people who maybe aren't very familiar with it and are considering it for Classic? Because, as I've said, if I decide not to go the Shadow Road and, I get shouted down by people who say, don't do it, Josh, and I go, all right, maybe it's not the best. But the other reason is I'm considering being a Holy Priest because I've never healed before in any MMO. The thought of being a healer does intrigue me, and I think I am of that certain mindset that I could very much be attracted to the healing lifestyle. So tell me if rolling a Holy Priest devolves to one button spam, because I just sort of had a bit of fun with the Paladins talking about Paladin PvE. And I had a crack at them saying the Paladin lifestyle in raids is flash of light, flash of light, flash of light, flash of light. Now, I'm hoping that you're going to tell me that there's a lot more to priests than just spamming one spell, or do you find it kind of does boil down to that?
To a certain extent, it can. Typically, your most efficient spell is going to be spamming low rank healing spells. The more plus healing you have, the less difference there is overall, at least percentage-wise, between the various ranks of heals. So often you don't really need to up rank in order to keep everyone healed. However, good priests will always be fluctuating between using different ranks of heals depending on exactly how much healing the target needs at the time. So usually you'll have 3 or 4 different ranks of heal on your bar that you're using, and that's just for your basic heal. You'll also be throwing renews. Whenever you move, you pretty much should throw a renew. Maybe a down-ranked one on one of the raid members, maybe a full-rank one on one of the tanks. It just depends. Definitely never devolves into one-button mashing, which is unfortunately something that can happen with, for example, Paladins. Because of their mana efficiency, they can pretty much spam max rank Flash of Light all day, and they have some pretty strong reasons to not go for Holy Light because it's less.
To get to the bread and butter, if you will. So having this, if you were running the whole dungeon, a princess run pieces of gear that eat water, and in that pool of water will be a nymph named Kavindra. She's at 32. This will task you and Montaxion, who is located in the orange section near a pool of water surrounded by larvae. Now he has 3 total abilities. One, this will happen about 50% health. He will break apart and spawn Noxion spawns, which are tiny versions of himself that attack all party members, so make sure you gather those up. He also has a Spore Cloud, which is a AoE aura that he puts on himself that does damage over time, and he has Toxic Volley, which shoots a projectile towards one of your characters. Now once you kill him, he will drop the Celebrian Rod. Make sure you loot it, make sure everyone in the party that has the quest loots it, and then move on, and make your way to the purple section to get the Celebrian Diamond. Now for part 3, which requires you to get the Celebrian Diamond from Lord Viletongue in the purple wing of Maraudon. Lord Viletongue has a lot of abilities. He has multi-shot, which allows him to attack multiple targets at once. He has Blink, which works just like a mage blink, teleporting him across small distances. He has Putrid Breath, which is a debuff that he put on an enemy when he's hit by a melee attack. He has Smoke Bomb, which stuns enemies and causes him to go stealth briefly. And then he has Shoot, which allows him to shoot your ranged targets, inflicting physical damage. He has a lot of different abilities, and to make matters even worse, he has Stealth Satyr Bodyguards, which will spawn immediately when you attack him. So make sure you bring down the ads first, and then kill Viletongue. Loot the Celebrian Diamond, and be on your way to the green section near the Poison Falls. The next part of the quest will require you to defeat Celebrus the Cursed, who is located in some standing water in the green section near the Poison Falls, technically in between the Poison Falls and the Earthsong Falls. Now he has 4 abilities, and he also has 3 Treant protectors that are surrounding him before the pull. He can resummon these corrupt forces of nature during the fight, so make sure when he does spawn them to take them down unless he's low health, and then just burn him down. But these ads will remain if you defeat Celebrus. He also has Entangling Roots, which immobilizes the target and inflicts nature damage over 10 seconds. He has Twisted Tranquility, which deals nature damage to enemies in an area of effect over 10 seconds. So it's like Tranquility, but it does damage. And finally, he has Wrath, which is basically just a projectile that he shoots out every once in a while. After you defeat him and defeat any of the corrupt forces of nature that are left, he will turn into Celebrus the Redeemed, and you can turn in the diamond and the rod to him. After you turn in both the items to Celebrus the Redeemed, he will offer you a quest called Scepter of Celebrus. This quest is also attainable at level 43 from Celebrus the Redeemed. He will give you a bunch of instructions, and then you'll receive the scepter. However, this can be a little painstaking, as each player will have to do this, and you'll have to follow him over to a stone tablet towards the Earthsong Falls. And